Well, hello out there. How's everybody doing? Is everybody's favorite conservative in New York, Christopher Wright, and this is the Christopher Wright Show. All right, so let's get straight to the topic at hand. Not guilty. Not guilty. All 5 counts. Kyle Rittenhouse. Can we just move on now? Jeez. Wow, this kid has been dragged through the ringer. Insane that has gotten this crazy when it came to this whole case. I mean, I honestly didn't think it was going to get this far. I thought it would be something like, open and shut kind of case. Boom, open and closed, done, move on. But no, the mainstream media got a hold of it. It got politicized. They made it a white versus black thing and all stuff like that. But look, I can go all the details. But first, let me just start off. Just play the clip of the verdict and then the final verdict. And then we can go from there. Give me 1 second here. And hear you guys' thoughts. Feel free in the comment section to let me know what your thoughts are about the whole situation.
The defendant will rise and face the jury and hearken to its verdicts.
State of Wisconsin versus Kyle Rittenhouse. As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury polled? No. Okay. Okay, folks, your job is done, and we started just about 3 weeks ago, and I told you it could last 2 weeks and 2 days. This is 2 weeks. This is 3 weeks. You were a wonderful.
Whew, man. Wow. Powerful. I'm glad the kid, I'm glad he made it through. I mean, you saw his emotions, how he just let it out. He just let it out, man, right there. That's like the weight left off your shoulders right there. I can only imagine being in his shoes, being a kid at the time of the shooting and that when everything happened. And, of course it was self-defense and of course everything like that. But to be, to go through everything he had to go through with the media and the press, and then, just the way they portrayed him, like he was, white supremacist, terrorist, kind of all this crazy stuff. And, as a kid, you don't realize, you probably still have faith in the mainstream media and everything like that. Like they're going to tell the truth and get the truth out to the public. But for him not to realize, or probably not realize how politicized the press has gotten, how, they're about pushing a narrative now, not about getting the truth out to the public. And for maybe somebody that young to realize it the first time in their personal life, when, they were obviously doing nothing wrong, they were trying to, defend the business. He worked. That's where he pretty much worked at the time. He lived 18 miles away from that area, and people always cross state lines. And he was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He was crossing state lines, but that was a drive for him. Like he's not like he lived like, I understand if he lived 4 states away and he crossed 3 or 4 borders to get there, or even one border that was he lived in, all the way up north, like for instance New York. He got upstate New York, all the way from upstate all the way down, and came out to Maryland or something like that. Or, something where you can compare, like, okay, that's a long drive. Why do you drive that long, 8, 9, 10-hour drive to cross state lines to do like this kind of act? That's when you kind of use that argument, kind of say, what was that all about? But with this, like I said, it's, place he went to very often. He worked there. It wasn't a long distance drive. And it just shows you a lot, just how the media likes to twist things around. And there's a couple key points. Reason why I was talking about this for to this point, because this is a very big case, and I could have done video, but I didn't want to just do a million videos about this case because I was already getting a hard time on social media. For those who follow me on Facebook already know that I got suspended for 30 days for posting just a post saying Kyle Rittenhouse picture, and I said I stand with Kyle, and they banned me for 30 days with that. Then they took a previous comment about the case that I made, pretty much saying Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero and Joe Biden's a racist. And they took that comment, and they 5 days after they banned me for 30 days, they used that other comment I made to say that's more hate speech. So they rebanned me again for the very 30 days. And then they banned me from going live on Facebook for 60 days. So this is how I can tell how serious this situation was and how much the media, social media and mainstream media were trying to push a narrative so much about Kyle Rittenhouse, about him supposed to be a white supremacist and all stuff like that. And there was a couple things I wanted to discuss about this case, because there were some key points, and I did want to discuss them and go over them because I saw them when it initially happened. Of course, I didn't cover them because of my issues with the social media and platforms and all that good stuff. But this is kind of the points during the case that I felt like, really kind of hit the case home. Like I already kind of figured, just from hearing the situation, the story, if you listen close enough, you kind of hear what, like it's like open and close kind of case. But it did go to trial, so we got more details. But these to me were the details throughout the court case that kind of, really proved that Kyle Rittenhouse was, wasn't in the wrong in the situation. So let me just play the first situation here. And this is the one that pretty much set off right here. And this is when the defendant who was shot was on the stand, and he made this statement here. So, and feel free, guys, to give me your comments, give me your thoughts about the situation as we go through each point. But let me hear. This is, like I said, he was attacked by 3 guys that night. This was the 3rd guy that got shot and killed, or 4 people, including the guy that kicked him in the head. But this is one of the 4 people that attacked him, and this is the guy that got shot here. So let me play.
Okay, so when you were standing 3 to 5 feet from him with your arms up in the air, he never fired, right?
Correct.
It wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him, with your gun, now your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired, right?
Correct.
What else do you need to know? If you guys would have saw the prosecutor right there, I didn't get the whole video, but the prosecutor put his head down like, oh my goodness, when the young man said that. So that says it all right there. The prosecutor even knew that was like game over right there. Like he admitted that he was the one who initiated. He pulled the gun out first. He came and lunged towards Rittenhouse with the gun. I mean, what else do you need to know? See, that was very important right there. That to me made it confirm it was an open and closed case. Like he pretty much admitted that he was lunging towards Kyle Rittenhouse with the gun at hand before Kyle shot. So it was self-defense. I mean, for one, he was already being attacked. He got kicked in the head before it all happened. The guy, this is a mob too coming at him. I remember, not to mention this is supposedly Black Lives Matter, and there's, they're trying to make it like, oh, this white supremacist was coming after Black Lives Matter and attacked a bunch of innocent Black people who were innocently protesting. That was all made up. Like for one, they weren't even Black. And the people who you saw the initial attack, he was kicked in the head initially. And then it was that guy came at him and with the gun. All right, so it's right there. It says it all. Like pretty much the guy just admitted that he was lunging towards Kyle Rittenhouse with the gun in hand before Kyle Rittenhouse shot him. So if you saw the whole video, he was already being attacked. He was getting kicked in the head by a guy. They were threatening him. Had one guy calling him an N-word, another white guy who was in Black Lives Matter, whatever that, so there's always, there's verbal threatening, and then there was physically threatening him. He got attacked physically, got kicked in the head. The other guy then saw when he pulled the gun out, he shot the guy who physically attacked him. And then when he turned around, there was a guy who was then lunging at him with the pistol, and he shot him as well. And then the guy admitted that he was lunging at him with the pistol. So this is obviously self-defense. Like, what else do you need to see? Like this, and I knew it when I heard the story the first time, and you had the video footage going, and I would play the video footage right here of it all, but I don't know what YouTube's letting me get away with. They've been on me about a lot of stuff lately, so I'm hesitant on what I can and cannot show. But it shows you can see the video clear as day. And so this is self-defense. I don't know why we got this far, but once I heard him on the stand saying that, I'm like, they better drop everything, on this kid, man. Drop all the charges, drop everything, because it's right there, man. The witness admitted. Then you see the prosecution after he said it. He just had his head down. The prosecutor who was prosecuting against Kyle Rittenhouse knew, like the guy, his defendant that went on the stand just blew the case wide open. I'm sure he wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sure he probably got caught up. The kid went on some talk shows later on afterwards and was saying, oh, he was forced to say that. And, he was getting, and pushed in a certain way to say certain things and all this. So it's all BS. But, went on the stand, said that he was lunging towards Kyle Rittenhouse and he had the pistol in his hand before Kyle Rittenhouse shot him. And he was already in self-defense mode because, like I said, the first guy already kicked him in the head by that time. And that's when Kyle left the first 2 shots. And then the defendant then attacked. When Kyle turned around, he attacked him with the pistol in his hand. And then he shot him in the bicep. And that's when, and that's when that happened. So Kyle Rittenhouse is obviously self-defense. And it's, right there, open and closed case. But yet, the media tries to flip it around and all stuff like that. And I didn't want to hear none of that. I just saw like the kid was in self-defense and then he was getting attacked by multiple people. And then the mob was behind those multiple people. So if you were in his kid's shoes, what would you have done? And I would have done something similar if given the opportunity. If I was in the same situation, I didn't see how we reacted in any way. That's like, oh, he's a racist, white supremacist, oh, he's a terrorist. No, it was self-defense. That's all there was to it. And there was other key points throughout the trial that I looked at. And, I really felt like should have been, more confirmation about, the final verdict when it came to the trial. But I want to kind of start off by just seeing you guys when Kyle was on the stand, because when Kyle Rittenhouse got a stand, that's one way you can always see if somebody is, really truly guilty is when they get on that stand and the body language and their tone of voice and how they carry themselves and how they react. It says a lot. So, a lot of people saying he shouldn't have gotten a stand in the first place. And he didn't have to get on the stand, and he still would have been in an okay situation when it came to this case. But I respect the young man from getting on there and, letting his voice be heard. And, it takes a lot of courage to really get up there when you get attacked by so many entities at one time to get up there and, get your voice heard. So let's see, how that occurred when he got on the stand here.
Once I take that step back, I look over my shoulder and Mr. Rosenbaum was now running from my right side, and I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski, and there were there were 3 people right there.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
That's what I run.
We're going to just take time for our break anyway. You can just relax for a minute, sir. We're going to take a break about 10 minutes, and please don't talk about the case during the break. Read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial.
Wow. So, I mean, folks, man, this is, like I said, this kid's been dragged through the ringer, all for political game, all to push a narrative. And it shows. I don't know what people need to see. I could see that and see the emotion just coming out. Like he was holding so much in, the PTSD that I'm sure he's dealing with. He killed somebody, man. Wrong or not, if he's in the wrong or not, if you believe he's in the wrong, if you believe he's not, when you kill somebody, that changes you. Me personally, I never dealt with that, but, I just had families in the military, who told me stories and, backgrounds and people they've known in the past who've done things and how it affected them and changed them. We're all God's creatures at the end of the day, man. And we're not here to kill each other. So when you're at a point in your life, and unfortunately, Kyle Rittenhouse, when he was kind of pushed into a situation where he had to defend himself, where it ended up with somebody dying, he still has to deal with that emotional pain. And it shows right then and there. You broke down right there. And you have people like LaChina James, Queen James coming out saying, oh, there's no tears on Twitter and all that stupid. I don't even want to get into that. But that was foolishness. That was stupid. Come on, man. Like, who are you to say something like that? And, and this guy, man, I don't even want to, say that I don't want to get into details about what that was, but a lot of celebrities are coming after him, attacking him on Twitter. And that's the issue I have with a lot of celebrities and just social media in general is, how many people can just be so like almost no soul when it comes to the situation. Like this is a kid in a situation defending himself, and there's people who had to lose their life just for the fact the kid had to defend himself, man. And then at the end of the day, those lives are, they're not coming back, and it is what it is. But for people just to attack Kyle Rittenhouse like he's just the devil in the situation, it's wrong. It's wrong, man. And I pray for that young man and his family, man. He saw his mom in there dealing with it, very emotional. So, that says it all right there. But there were some other situations, there was the judge, I won't bring his name up, Judge Bruce Schroeder. I have a lot of respect for him as well. I think he handled this case, spectacularly. It was amazing. It was, he was very calm, collected. When he was dealing with the prosecution, when they were trying to, bring stuff after the fact, there's one situation where, I don't remember the prosecution's name. I just remember the two prosecutors over there that were going against, Kyle Rittenhouse. And they were just, one guy, the glasses, he was a beta male, whatever, man, that freaking, you can tell he's a SJW. But, he was just doing, trying to twist the law, the system around to kind of fit his needs, kind of like he tells Leftist, because he's trying to manipulate things, kind of fit his needs. Like he was trying to criticize Kyle Rittenhouse towards when they were doing the closings at the very end. He was trying to criticize Kyle Rittenhouse for using his right to silence after this whole situation happened, and he didn't want to say nothing to, to the police or anything like that afterwards. And he's trying to say, why wouldn't he want to say nothing? He, is he trying to hold something back? Is he trying to hide something? And he's trying to twist it like that. I'm like, what? It's a right to silence. I'm like, that is like, you learn that like in third grade. Like you have the right to silence when you are, arrested or anything happens to you when you deal with the police or anything like that. That's one of your rights as an American, as a citizen in this country. And he used that right, and they try to criticize for that. So, Judge Bruce Schroeder kind of checked him on that. So I want to kind of play that clip there and kind of see how he handled the situation. And I say I respect him a lot. I think he did a great job in this trial. And you just want to play that clip real quick.
I indicated a bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that made it okay for you, without any advance notice, to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, I'll leave it at that.
Yep. So you saw, Judge Bruce Schroeder was not having that. He wasn't having it. He said, because, he's a judge. If anything like evidence is going to be brought like that in front of the, the jury, beforehand, it has to be brought to him before the trial even starts. So he knows, what can go through, what can be confirmed, what cannot be confirmed. I'm not an expert on law, but I learned a little bit, watching this and other trials in the past. I've learned a bit from how the law works. And for him to try to bring that up at the very end, like just try to sneak it in there, like it's okay. And like he said, he's done little things like that during the trial before that. So this wasn't his first time being reprimanded on that kind of behavior. So this guy, like I said, he just really can tell he's probably a pseudo-intellectual leftist sitting on a high horse, thinks he knows it all, and thinks he can just sneak around and get things in there and during his court case. But there's another time later on that the judge checked him again, and during that same final verdict situation. So I want you to check it out and see how you handle that. And feel free, please, put in the comment section your thoughts and anything like that. I want to hear what you guys got to say about, how you feel, how you handle this situation.
What I've heard in this trial, and by the way, Mr. Richards absolutely correctly points out that just hours ago, I said I had heard nothing in this trial to change any of my rulings. So why?
Testimony, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
That was before the defense testimony.
Don't get brazen with me. You knew very well. You know very well that an attorney can't go into these types of areas when the judge has already ruled without asking outside the presence of the jury to do so. So don't give me that. That's number one. Number two, this is propensity evidence. I said at the time that I made my ruling, and I'll repeat again now for you, I see no similarity between talking about wishing you had your AR gun, which you don't have, so that you could fire rounds at these thought to be shoplifters, and the incidents in these cases, which are not There's nothing in your case that suggests the defendant was lying in wait to shoot at somebody or reflecting upon the shooting for a vast amount of time. Every one of the incidents involves matters that involve seconds in time. So I commented at the time, I don't see the similarity, and I don't see the similarity now.
See, again. So he's trying to bring up information that wasn't brought to the judge beforehand. So he's trying to say, oh, well, in the past, Kyle Rittenhouse verbally threatened people with that same gun he used to shoot and kill people later on. And so is this connection. And he's like, no, you can't connect that. You can't say, somebody talking to somebody before, months beforehand saying, oh, I'll shoot you with my gun or whatever. It's the same to actually physically having the gun and shooting somebody. So to even try to connect that, you can't use that in court, in trial. You can't use that in court. And it's all the judge was trying to say. And this guy, this little prosecuting weasel, I don't want to remember his name because he was just whole entire trial just weaseling around, trying to sneak in little things. And, and they said he'd been checked a couple of times. Even the other lawyer on the other side had to check him one time on the subject. So this isn't his first rodeo. This guy's been acting like this, man. And this is, like I said, this is typical leftist behavior. You had freaking NBC had to be told to, stay away from the jury because after one of the days of trial that NBC supposedly followed the jury bus behind, like it was like the mob, man. The leftist mob is like how they're moving, man. This is crazy. They treat this freaking trial like this court case like this. I mean, they're treating this kid like he's a terrorist, man. And it's like, this any other situation, if we were in 2021, dealing with the racial division that the media is trying to push and the white supremacy narrative they're trying to push and January 6th and everything like that, they're trying to push these narratives. If it wasn't for all of that, they wouldn't let this trial get this crazy, this far out there that we're dealing with right now. I mean, the three guys that attacked Kyle Rittenhouse, for crying out loud, were real criminals. Real criminals. Wake up, people. These people were real criminals. And nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. I mean, one guy was it a pedophile? This one guy was. Hold on, I got it. Let me pull that up. I got all this situations right here. Joseph Rosenbaum. This guy was a single mother, so he could sodomize their young sons. Convicted 5 times. Anthony Huber kidnapped and suffocated women. Convicted twice. And you had Gage Paul Grozenkreutz, whatever. That's the guy that I was mentioning earlier who got shot and survived, who was on the stand. He was a felony, burglary, probation violation, illegal weapon carrying. So these guys, and they all were adults at this time, by the way. They all were grown adults. Kyle Rittenhouse was the only kid in this situation, 17 years old at the time. And we are attacking this one kid. And this kid, like I said, and they all were white men. So if they're trying to push a narrative, oh, here's a white supremacist white kid cross state lines to shoot and attack Black Lives Matter, there was no black people there. There were only white people he shot at. Like, this is Black Lives Matter people, by the way. So all these Black Lives Matter group, all these freaking groups talking, oh, Black Lives Matter, and we're Black Lives Matter, and we're all for Black lives. Why aren't you guys criticizing the fact that there's a Black Lives Matter protest? There's rioting and looting going on. There's a protest, but no black people for Black Lives Matter. And the people that were shot weren't black. And yet they're trying to use this situation as a white supremacist situation, a white guy attacking black people. And nobody there got attacked was black. Who got killed, nobody was black. It's mind-blowing what's going on right here. One of the guys there called him an N-word. Called Kyle Rittenhouse the N-word. Racist behavior. But yet they're attacking the one guy who was there innocently, who was there to defend. He went to Kenosha, Washington that day to defend businesses. He worked there, knew people there. He said he was there with groups of people who were armed as well. The police came up to him beforehand and they said, hey, we respect what you guys are doing. This is not some white supremacist KKK act like the media is trying to portray it to be. All propaganda spewing. And it's crazy. And, I think, Kyle, Rittenhouse is a hero, man. I give him the most respect. I think personally, not guilty. I felt that way when I initially heard this situation happening. I feel that way now with more details that are coming out with this court case. End of the day, More power to him and his family. Much respect to his mother. She's, single parent mother, raised an amazing son. Not so easy to do nowadays. That's a big issue with the Black community, single parent households, unfortunately, in my opinion. But she did an amazing job with this young man. Trained lifeguard, EMT trained. Kid was, wanted to be a hero, and to my opinion, became a hero that night. And I have nothing negative to say about the young man. The best to him, and I think the three adults that attacked him were the ones who were in the wrong. They were the ones. One guy got in jail the night before and got released, and then came right to that incident. What was he doing there? Nobody asking questions about that. Nobody's even considering that, because they're all focused on pushing a narrative. And now you got all these celebrities coming out. You got the left acting the fool now. Chicago, you have people, storming around, marching and all stuff like that. Or calling Kyle Rittenhouse, all these names, attacking him. All this craziness. For what? You got Colin Kaepernick, you got RG3, you got all these radical leftist people pretty much saying, oh, white supremacy rules again, white supremacy reigns, and all this nonsense. And I don't get what it proves. So, I just want to close it out on this note. Tucker Carlson said it best, and just let it be, man. Let Tucker Carlson close this one out. And like always, God bless everybody out there listening, and God bless the United States of America. Peace out.
At this point, there is no remaining doubt that Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense during the riots last summer in Kenosha. Every shot Rittenhouse fired was captured on videotape and from multiple angles. Every single witness who testified this week at the trial confirmed exactly what happened. And here are the facts of it. A convicted child rapist called Joseph Rosenbaum was released from a mental hospital and then went directly to join the mob that was burning downtown Kenosha. Once he got to the riot, Rosenbaum saw Kyle Rittenhouse and immediately threatened to kill him. Rosenbaum then chased Rittenhouse and tried to pull the gun from his hands. When he did that, Kyle Rittenhouse shot him. So Joseph Rosenbaum died as he had lived, trying to touch an unwilling minor.